Flying from Bali to Norway was one of the worst experiences of my life. I have to fly business class because I cannot be sitting upright. If I do that for too long, I have seizures. And with business class comes different perks as well. You know, you're supposed to have the lounge and the service and all the things. And I got to the airport, I travel in my wheelchair. The first thing that happened is they told me I couldn't have the amount of baggage I had with me, even though it was pre-booked. And I had to stand there or sit there for a long time and explain that I had actually paid for the luggage. And then when they finally stopped arguing about that, they tried to take my wheelchair from me, and I said I need my wheelchair, but they wouldn't listen, and they demanded that I prove my disability, even though I had cleared everything with the airline and already given them the documentation that I need the wheelchair. So they ended up taking the wheelchair from me, but wheeling me in the airport wheelchairs, which are a lot less comfortable and not tailored to my needs. And they just rolled me into the lounge, into the back corner, and just left me there without a wheelchair or assistance. The airline had assured me that I would have assistance throughout my journey. I called the airline and said I was left alone. I was scared and I had to go to the bathroom, but I did not have anyone to help me. The person I spoke to started yelling at me. This is Thai Airways, by the way. So that was crazy. I didn't get any help. I got wheeled to the plane, and then when they boarded me, they put me in the back, which is ridiculous because that requires me to walk a lot further than necessary. And my chair didn't go all the way back, so I started feeling sick already after just an hour on the plane. Landed in Bangkok. Same thing happened, but he refused to take me to the lounge because it was too far for the guy wheeling me to walk. So he just left me on the plastic chairs, which is, for me, for anyone it's uncomfortable, but for me it makes me sick. Tried to explain it to him, but he was like, not my problem. I got wheeled on the plane. My TV screen on the plane didn't work properly, so that was annoying. They had some customized things to connect headphones, so I had to use the airline headphones, which are, they're not noise cancelling at all, and the noise from the airplane is torture for me and can cause seizures, and with like lights and sound and everything. So that was a nightmare. And then I'm a vegan, and they served me rice with asparagus on top, which was ridiculous. And then when I got off the plane, the people at the Norwegian airport are supposed to be wheeling me around and helping me, and they yelled at me for the amount of luggage that I had, and I explained I've been in Bali for 5 months, I have a lot of shit. But she started like yelling at me, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, I had already approved everything with the airline. You were supposed to be notified about this. She wasn't notified, and she was mad at me for that. Not my fault or my problem. And then she said that she was going to leave my luggage behind. I said that's absolutely not happening. And then she was like trying to stack them on top of my lap, and I told her with my illness that will make me sick. And she was like, oh, fine. And then she was, I don't know, she was trying to stack them on like the back of the wheelchair, but she didn't tell me. So she just flung my luggage 10 kilos straight into my neck, and it whiplashed me forward. And I started having a seizure immediately and shaking. And I told her that's unacceptable and I have damage in my spinal cord. And she just said that's not my problem and walked away. So I was just left there spasming and having a seizure. And I didn't have water to take my medicine, and the guy that tried to help me. He tried to take me to a drinking fountain, and when I have a seizure, I talk like this. So I was like trying to explain that I couldn't stand up to drink from the fountain. So it took forever to actually be able to take my medication. So I had violent seizures, and my mother picked me up, and I was just laying in the back of the car for like 40 minutes before we could drive because the seizure was so bad. And then I got home and I was just in so much pain, and I was just laying in bed. I couldn't sleep and I couldn't move anything, and it just got worse and worse and worse. So the day after, we went to the ER, and the doctor there was basically like, he didn't care. He was just blaming my previous conditions for my symptoms. And I told him that, yes, I do have lupus and MS, and of course that makes me react more harshly to trauma like this. But also, I just got hit really hard with a 10 kg suitcase in my neck, and I have osteoporosis, so I need an x-ray, but they refused me. And they told me to come back if it got worse. Today it got much worse. So now I'm back, and now they're thankfully taking it seriously, but for it to take 24 hours to just get a bed, and now I have to wait for hours for the x-rays. Probably doing a CT scan, but now also because I was in Bali, they're like doing all these tests to see if I brought something contagious back. So yeah.